So what was Jesus doing the last week of his life on earth? We don't know all the details. The Bible records a great deal of what was happening, lots of events, lots of doings, lots of teachings, prophecies. But it's interesting, and it was probably Wednesday. Some scholars say it was on Tuesday. But Jesus did an interesting thing. He predicts his death, and he predicts his anointing for burial. Now think about this. This is just a few days before he's crucified, and it seems as though his disciples completely forgot about it. They acted like they didn't know anything about it while he'd been telling them, and he told them just a few days earlier, he predicted his suffering and his death. Beyond that, the Jewish religious leaders during that time, as part of this whole thing comes together, the piece of the puzzle, Jesus predicts his death. They plot to capture and kill Jesus. How are we going to do it? Well, we're going to use Judas. We're going to bribe him. And so they're plotting. Jesus is predicting. The woman, and she's not named. We don't know who she is. There was another woman at another time who did a similar thing. But a woman comes and she anoints Jesus with very expensive oil. And the disciples criticize her for it. Why, that money could have been used for something else. It's probably Judas that was instigating the criticism because he criticized earlier, and he was the treasurer, so he wanted the money to go ultimately into his pocket. But Jesus didn't criticize her for taking expensive oil and anointing him. One, because for her it was an act of worship, and he knew that he was worth it. But two, because she was unknowingly anointing him for what would be his burial. It was a symbol of what was coming, that Jesus would die in a few days for the sins of the world, and that he would be anointed by the women, and he would be buried, and he would be dead, and then he would rise again. So this interesting little story is a reminder that Jesus knew what was happening, and God's got things under control. Sometimes it feels like your life is out of control. You don't know what's happening. You don't know why it's happening. Well, I want you to understand, if you're really living for God and obeying him, God's got it under control. Relax. Be patient. Trust him. He knows what he's doing. I'm Dave Early. Thanks for joining us. Don't miss tomorrow as we continue to talk about Holy Week and what Jesus was doing that last week of his life. You can follow us on YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Facebook. Keep with us. Don't miss tomorrow as we talk about Thursday of Holy Week.